everybody! I am back because I figured out that after a 10-hour road trip, you are way too tired the next day to record. And so last week I had 0 videos. But anyway, I am back and I am going to see your faces because I have missed you all. I am going to tell you guys the books I have finished and read in May and that I'm currently going to be reading in June, just to kick off my massive May wrap-up. As you all know, I finished April by reading The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simmons. And I finished that book. And we'll be honest, I didn't like it. It wasn't really my cup of tea. The only thing I liked about it was the factual, harsh living conditions during World War II in Russia. I absolutely loved that. But the book is marketed as a romance novel. I felt that Tatiana and Alexander were just horrible together. In doing so, I gave this book a 1.5 out of 5. So I'm sorry for all of the lovers of the story, it was just not my cup of tea. And then I picked up The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 3rd book in the Mistborn trilogy. And technically the series goes on with 3 more installments, but it takes place 100 years into the future, so I'm counting this as a first trilogy. I finished it. It gave me so much feels, but I am so happy with just how it ended and how it all wrapped up. I love Brandon Sanderson and I am planning on picking up more of his work in the future. I definitely gave this a 5 out of 5. And I loved Vin in the first book, and I loved Elend and all of those other characters, but Sazed really shines for me in this book. He became my absolute favorite character because he grows so much throughout the entire series, and I'm really excited to see how I fare with more of Brandon Sanderson's work. And because I only finished 3 books, just 3 books in May, the last book I finished was Emerald Green by Kristen Gear. It is the Precious Stone / Ruby Red trilogy, whatever you want to call it. I've heard it called both, and it was this big wrap-up of everything with time travel and all this other wobbly stuff, and there was a lot of things that happened, and I was really interested and intrigued to see how they were going to manage to wrap up the series. A lot of people did not like the ending to Emerald Green, but I was actually okay with it. I mean, there's a lot of things about the book that can get on your nerves when it comes to sappy, insta-lovey YA romance stories, but the book itself I actually fairly enjoyed, and I read it fairly quickly in a couple of days, and so I plan on giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And as some of you guys have known, I started reading A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab last month. And I gotta say, I have not finished it yet, which was a bummer. I was hoping that I was gonna finish it on my trip to Phoenix. Didn't happen. I'm only about 34% of the way through, but I definitely love Kel, and getting to know Delilah has been a really big treat for me. The fact that she wants to be a pirate, like my favorite thing in the world, and I just love her, and I'm really excited to learn more about her. Being only a 1/3 of the way in the book, there's a lot of world building, but the world building is not super info dumpy to where you're bored and you feel like your mind's going to explode. It's actually done very well, and so eventually I'm going to continue to read this. However, the book that has gotten me to not really read A Darker Shade of Magic is actually Akamath, A Court of Mist and Fury. My library surprised me with telling me that my interlibrary loan on my phone was ready So I said, why not let me start reading it? Currently, I am at 62% of the way in the book. And I am not a huge fan of Sarah J. Maas's writing style, and I have just really found that out during this book. And so unless the story itself really picks up and really gets me motivated, I think I might be stopping here, which is really sad. I know it's very much so an unpopular opinion, but I just gotta stick with my heart, and I don't want to read A Court of Wings and Ruin if it's gonna feel like a chore. So we'll see what happens, which brings me to the third and last book I started reading. Really, I started reading this in like February, and I put it on the back burner, and I picked it up again, which was A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. It is book 2 in the Song of Ice and Fire, aka the Game of Thrones series, and if y'all watched my previous videos, you would have known that I had to take a step back in, I think, March. I got halfway through, and I had to put it down because it was not good for me mentally and emotionally. I picked it up sparingly during May. I didn't make too much progress. I only got 10% further. So I'm currently sitting at, I think, 59, 60% of the book, and I'm just gonna slowly go through it because I want to make sure I'm in a mentally capable and steady place. As for books that I haven't even started or picked up for this month of June, we'll just see what happens. I'm actually getting 2 books in the mail today, which are When Dimple Met Rishi and The Hate U Give, and I'm so excited. I hope I start them this month. So all in all, I had a really great, really fast-paced May, and I'm so excited to see what June has in store for me. Please let me know in the comments down below what your favorite reads of May were, and I hope to see you guys next time. Goodbye!